Another pivotal moment in our own spiritual journey and pursuit of fulfillment arrives this weekend, November 1st and November 2nd. This is the cosmological narrative for the first and the second. We're going to be looking at a T-square that's forming between Venus and Chiron with the expression point of Jupiter in Cancer and exaltation. And we're also going to be discussing the moon going conjunct with the North Node, and then later that day making a connection with Saturn and Neptune retrograde in Pisces. So let's dive into it. The first thing, like I said, we're going to look at that T-square. So over the past few weeks, since that solar eclipse in Virgo, and at this point, it's been over a month since the solar eclipse in Virgo, we had a complete reassessment and reevaluation of our desire body, of where we're going in this life, what we achieved to seek. And then as Venus moved into her domicile of Libra, we then attempted to achieve harmony via our relationships in trying to balance the areas of our life so that we could bring a greater sense of pleasure to the desire body that was born under that solar eclipse in Virgo, because we had a reset with that solar eclipse in Virgo because Venus and the South Node were co-present in the sign at the same time that we had a new personal sun born amongst ourselves. Therefore, it suggested that it's not that like our desires completely changed under that solar eclipse, but they definitely went through a purging and like a purifying effort. And we were purifying and stripping off areas of karmic debt, karmic weight, belief systems and desires that were shaped because we felt something about ourselves or believed something false about the world, and therefore we projected that belief into our desire. So under that solar eclipse, we were able to shed out and get rid of all of that, basically like that detritus of desire, the desire detritus that was just kind of keeping us weighted down, kind of keeping us grounded in the earth. And then, like I said, as Venus moved into Libra, we then attempted and have been attempting, because she's still there, to achieve a sense of those desires through bringing balance into our relationships. However, understanding that Scorpio comes next, we're not going to be able to bring an absolute desire to our relationships, which brings us to the weekend of November 1st and the 2nd, where we, like I said, experience a pivotal moment in the pursuit of our desires and in the pursuit of our spiritual fulfillment, where we're feeling a little bit stalled out, but it's for a greater purpose. So let's get into it. So we have the T-square forming, and the T-square will actually go exact on Sunday, but come on, you are going to feel this Friday night. You're going to feel it stressing on you Saturday, and Sunday is when the kettle will pop, so to speak. Hopefully you can use this energy and this video to understand and better compartmentalize where that energy is manifesting in your life, so that you don't pop like the pressure cooker that a T-square tends to indicate is going to manifest in our lives. So we have this pressure cooker T-square between Venus and Libra opposite Chiron retrograde in Aries and the expression point of Jupiter in Cancer in his exaltation. So the opposition between Venus and Libra and Chiron retrograde in Aries, we need to talk in a vacuum about Chiron retrograde in Aries if this is new to you. If it's not, please just bear with me as I describe this. Chiron retrograde in Aries is giving us emotional and spiritual stimulus, not external stimulus, but internal stimulus that allows us to reflect on the culmination of our childhood wounds and how they're being lensed and shown through the Aryan section of our life. Regardless of what house this takes place, whether it's 1st, 4th, 7th, 10th, anything in between, that Aryan quality of Chiron is going to emanate as a fear of being an individual. This is sort of like that vibe of doing something that's outside of your comfort zone and then immediately wondering and having that moment of regret of like, should I have stood out? Should I have said the thing? Should I have done that? Am I even allowed to be here? And what am I describing? I'm ultimately describing imposter syndrome, insecurity, and lack of self-worth. It's like this disbelief that you need the collective to stand with you in order for you to stand on your own. And it's not the prescription of action in Aries. The prescription of action in Aries is these are the areas of our life, especially when we have planets creating a level of nuance in that read. Aries is where we need to express our individuality, and when we have Chiron there, essentially we're having difficulty expressing our individuality and our own self-expression of individual forward pursuit because that childhood wound is being activated. And when it moves through Chiron, regardless of where your natal Chiron is, it's as though those wounds feel like they're being it feels as though those wounds are coming from a place that prevent us from showing up as an individual. And even if it's a fear, even if it's like a childhood wound of like having to have been the adult to your siblings, or maybe having to like have been the communicator amongst your toxic, volatile parents, then what happens is that wound then manifests through an opportunity where we're able to see it and express it in such a way that we're afraid, again, to be an individual. So what the opposition with Venus and Chiron suggests as part of this T-square pressure cooker is that we are really attempting to achieve and pursue the balance of our desires through our relationships, but at the same time, there is some sort of external situation that's manifesting where we feel like maybe we're going way more out on a limb here than we should. Like, maybe this is selfish of me. Maybe I shouldn't be showing up like in this self-expressed way. Maybe I need to be a little bit more realistic with my desires. And that's what this opposition suggests, because it's going to create an external situation of compromise where we probably are going to have to acknowledge that we're where we need to be. And just because we haven't gotten what we desire doesn't mean that we aren't where we need to be. And that's the greater story of what's taking place in this T-square, because a T-square will have Chiron retrograde in Aries making a square to Jupiter in Cancer, and Venus in her domicile in Libra making a square to Jupiter in Cancer. So in a vacuum, those two squares create tension between what Jupiter is doing. What is Jupiter doing? Jupiter is essentially, he's in the superior position of this grand water trine that's being activated. And we're going to talk about why this is important in a minute. And even though he's not in the superior position of this T-square, technically Chiron is, so that suggests that both Chiron and Libra, the actions and energy that they're manifesting are allowing us an opportunity and working on behalf of Chiron so we can heal that Chironic wound, which does suggest and play into the grand water trine that's happening, because with this grand water trine, it's all water, it's all creative flow, we are healing, water is healing, and so we are like rushing this water around the spiritual vectors of our life, allowing for opportunities to heal. So this is like a microcosm story of that grand water trine. We're going to get into the grand water trine and why I brought that up. I didn't just bring that up for no reason. So the T-square, when we have Venus making that square to Jupiter, it's essentially like Jupiter is saying, I am orchestrating these divine opportunities for you to show up, for you to nurture, for you to fill your own cup so that you can make sure that you can fill the cup of the world as you continue to experience the world. That internal square, that's internal tension, and that's going to be between our desire body and between our childhood wound through the Aryan section of our life. So through the Aryan section of our chart, that childhood wound is probably doubting Jupiter a lot. It's probably like, I don't understand why this is happening. If I was truly meant to be where I'm supposed to be in this life as this individual, as this self-expressed Aryan quality, then this wouldn't be happening. And so it's creating internal tension, and Jupiter's basically like, you have to trust me. You have to trust me. You don't see the divine plan yet, but you have to trust me. I'm in the exalted position. I am connected with all, this is Jupiter speaking. I am connected with the water, with the emotion, with the intuition. You just have to trust that I am orchestrating things from a very watery divine place that will make sense to you later on. The Venus square with Jupiter suggests that, again, we're not where we want to be with our desires, and that's driving that opposition with Chiron, where then we're maybe afraid and feeling fearful or almost like self-critical of ourselves that we aren't where we need to be, because if we were, then we'd be able to achieve what we want. It's not really how life works, though, and so we're being triggered. And that square between Venus and Jupiter suggests, once again, we're not trusting the grand plan. We're not trusting that just because we haven't been given what we achieve what we desire to achieve in this lifetime at this moment, or God forbid, that we haven't been able to achieve the desires that were born under the solar eclipse in Virgo a month ago. God forbid we didn't get all of our desires in 1 month. It's almost like we're like questioning the divine. And so again, the easiest way to express that would be to trust what Jupiter is doing. Trust what Jupiter is doing in the Cancerian area of your chart. Look how he's been showing up and the stories he's been telling, and lean into that. Lean into that self-care, that self-nurture. Yeah, you might not be able to be where your desires are. It doesn't mean you aren't where you're supposed to be. Maybe this is an opportunity for you to rest. Maybe this is an opportunity for you to learn how to fill your own cup better. Alternatively, you can look at the opposition of where Jupiter is to create and simulate an artificial grand cross, which would land us in the sign of Capricorn, which has no transiting planets at the moment. However, that would suggest that another way through this T-square energy is just to emotionally detach and know that emotions come, emotions go, and you know what doesn't come and go? The work that you put in every day, the work in this physical realm, the bricks that you lay for your business, for other people's businesses, for your routines, for your health, for your wellness, those bricks and those buildings, those don't go away. Not like emotions do, not with the transience that emotions do. So again, that suggests that's another alternative for us to express that energy this weekend. So the way that this energy is looking this weekend is your two options are either self-care in the Cancerian area of your chart, how Jupiter's been showing you, Or get to work, grind, and bust ass in the Capricornian area of your chart, disconnect from emotions, and know that in a couple days, these feelings will pass and you'll be happy you did the work, basically, or you'll be happy that you took care of yourself, one or the other. So while all this tension is taking place this weekend, it's kind of fascinating because the moon will be in Aquarius for the first few hours of Saturday, but by and large, the moon will be in Pisces for most of the weekend. When the moon is in Pisces, we connect with the spiritual collective. Those are those types of days where you're like, I'm living a dream, and you can kind of see like how mystical your life is. I really like Pisces days. These are days where I like go out on quiet walks and I sit in the sun and I feel like I just have this like intuitive sense of being able to understand why all the bullshit has happened in my life, for lack of better words. Like whatever obstacle it is that I'm going through at that point in time in life, whenever the moon's in Pisces, I'm like, oh, I get it. It makes sense. And again, with this T-square opposition, where we're really feeling pressed between like this wound of individuality and our desire body, there's probably going to be some sort of emotional resonance that it's like, oh, like this sucks, but I get it. And there's like a dreamy, like I get it feeling. Like I know it's like a delayed gratification. I know that I'm not getting it now. I understand why I can't get it now. I'd like to have it now, but I understand why I can't. Maybe this is an opportunity for me to pause and reflect. The moon's going to go conjunct with the North Node, with Saturn retrograde in Pisces, and then Neptune retrograde in Pisces. And as the moon connects with all of those, it essentially suggests that our emotional body is going to then first resonate with the North Node, which is it's the direction in life that we are evolving, and we experience the most soul discomfort, which perpetuates and allows soul growth, because through discomfort and oppression are we allowed to grow. And so it's like as the moon overcomes the North Node, we're realizing like, oh, this is like a divinely orchestrated story that's taking place in my life. I'm not comfortable with it. I don't like it, but I get it. And then when the moon moves over Saturn just a couple hours later, this is an emotional respondence in resonance with, I understand why I'm being obstacled right now. I understand why this is required of me. Even if it's only for a few hours, it's like that moment of realizing that delay was actually a divine delay. It was a divine redirection. It was the divine delay that kept you from getting in the pile up outside because you got like stuck inside doing some chore or cleaning up after your animals or something. And it's like a total inconvenience to your day, a total setback, a total Saturnian obstacle and setback. When the moon connects with that Saturn energy, it's like, oh, I see what this saved me from. Oh, I see what this is protecting me from. It is an obstacle, it is a delay, but it's almost like a shielded delay. It feels like a delay to me, but it's actually right place, right time. And then as the moon connects over the Neptune retrograde, this is going to be an emotional resonance moment. Again, whether it's an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, or just a quality that kind of infiltrates your day as a whole. It's like this energy of understanding where we've been lying to ourselves, which is what Neptune has been showing us while he's in retrograde, is what is your posture in the spiritual collective? What is your job in contributing to the spiritual collective? And suddenly we make a direct connection between where we're evolving, why the obstacles that have been put into place have been put into place like they have, and how that connects with aligning us with this truer spiritual transcendental nature of Neptune, which is how are we positioned in the spiritual collective and what is our job there. And it's almost like we're able to integrate where those delays and that growth has been formulating us into an unconscious truth that we may know at a soul level, but we may not know consciously. If you enjoy these spiritual and astrological narratives, I encourage you to check out my weekly astrological and divination-based workshop, Consciousness, Conjunctions, and Conversations. I hold it weekly at 6:30 p.m. Pacific. It is absolutely free. You can sign up the Partyful link in my Linktree bio, and we get together and we discuss the energy transits from last week and the following week, and I teach you how to delineate where these transits are taking place in your spiritual journey so that you can fully integrate the lessons that the cosmic universe has for you, both the highs and the lows, and you can continue on your spiritual and consciousness evolution. The second thing is if you are interested in booking an astrological reading of any type with me, whether it's a forecast, a birth chart reading, a progression chart, you want to see what's coming for you the next year, you want to see what's coming for you this month, you want to see what the lessons were last month, I do all of it. Shoot me a DM on Instagram, TikTok, or the link tree in my bio. I have menus posted on all of them. And if you can't pay my full rate and you are affected by the downturn in the current economy, I have hardship and financial situationship pricing available. So do not fret. If you are interested in your consciousness evolution, if you are interested in getting some insight as to where you are going in this life and the best way to go about it, I will not turn you down. You let me know your situation. We will coordinate. We will make something work. So until I see you in my workshop signed up, limited to 10 seats per week, so show up a few minutes early, but totally free. Until I see you in my workshop, until I see you in my DMs for a reading, I will see you on Monday for the Cosmological Narrative for Monday and Tuesday. And in the meantime, you have a transcendental weekend. Don't beat yourself up too much if you are not where you want to be. Do not let those childhood wounds conquer you. Live in the transcendence, vibe with the emotional, intuitive feeling of this weekend, and know that that feeling that you are on the right track, even if your physical reality isn't responding to it or reflecting it back to you, if you intuitively feel that you're on the right track, you are. The moon will be in Pisces. You will be guided to where you need to be if you follow your intuition. Much love, everybody. Have a wonderful, productive weekend.